In Hollywood, fame can rise like a rocket, and sometimes it falls just as fast. Some stars shine brightest just before they vanish. Their names echo through the decades, not just for what they gave us on screen, but for how suddenly and tragically their stories ended. One day, they're on every magazine cover. The next, the world mourns them. Whether it was a plane crash, a sudden illness, or something more mysterious, these actors were taken in their prime. Their talent still rising, their careers on fire. And then, gone. Rudolph Valentino, Hollywood's first great heartthrob. Long before Elvis or James Dean, there was Valentino. Rudolph Valentino wasn't just a movie star. He was a phenomenon. Born in Italy, he came to America with ambition and magnetism to spare. He worked odd jobs, danced with wealthy women in New York nightclubs, and eventually made his way to Los Angeles, partly to escape a scandal involving a jealous husband and a murder. Hollywood embraced him, and audiences did too. His breakthrough came in 1921 with The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Soon he was starring in hit after hit: The Sheik, Blood and Sand, The Eagle. He became the silver screen's first true heartthrob, known as the Latin Lover. Then, out of nowhere, tragedy struck. In August 1926, Valentino was in New York when he collapsed at the Hotel Ambassador. Doctors diagnosed a perforated ulcer. Emergency surgery followed. For a few days, it looked like he might recover. But infection set in. Sepsis took hold. He slipped away on August 23rd, just 31 years old. The public response was overwhelming. Tens of thousands flooded the streets to see him one last time. Reports tell of fans fainting, weeping uncontrollably, even harming themselves in their grief. His death was so sudden, so painful, that doctors began referring to his condition as Valentino's syndrome. He had been the face of passion, mystery, and exotic allure, and just like that, he was gone. James Dean, the rebel who never grew old. Few faces are as iconic as James Dean's. With his brooding stare, tousled hair, and quiet intensity, Dean captured the spirit of restless youth like no one else. His breakout role in East of Eden earned him instant acclaim. Then came Rebel Without a Cause, and with it, immortality. But his time in the spotlight was heartbreakingly brief. On September 30th, 1955, just weeks before Rebel Without a Cause hit theaters, Dean was driving his brand-new Porsche 550 Spyder through California. He was on his way to a race in Salinas. Fast roads, open skies, and the thrill he loved. But the Porsche was a tricky car. Lightweight, powerful, unforgiving. As Dean approached an intersection on Route 466, another car turned in front of him. The two vehicles collided head-on. His mechanic, riding beside him, was thrown clear and survived. Dean wasn't so lucky. He died at the scene. He was just 24 years old. He had completed only 3 films, but that was enough. He became a symbol of youth, rebellion, potential unfulfilled. Hollywood never forgot him. Even the car he drove that day, nicknamed Little Bastard, gained a dark reputation. Mechanics, collectors, and drivers who came in contact with its wreckage often met with strange, even deadly, accidents. James Dean never lived long enough to grow old, and maybe that's why he still feels so alive in memory. Forever young, forever on the edge. Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces. Lon Chaney was a master of transformation. Known as the Man of 1,000 Faces, he astonished audiences in the 1920s with unforgettable performances in The Hunchback of Notre Dame and The Phantom of the Opera. He didn't just act, He disappeared into his roles, often using elaborate makeup and prosthetics that he designed himself. But what set Chaney apart wasn't the horror, it was the humanity. Beneath the grotesque exteriors, his characters were always deeply human, filled with longing, fear, and grace. Chaney wasn't just a pioneer of special effects. He was a pioneer of empathy. Off-screen, he was private, disciplined, and devoted to his craft. Many expected him to transition seamlessly into the new era of talking pictures, but he never got the chance. In 1930, at just 47, Chaney died after a battle with throat cancer and pneumonia. His voice, his instrument, was taken from him by disease. He passed away quietly, but his legacy was anything but quiet. Today, he's remembered as one of the greats. His work influenced generations of actors and filmmakers. His son, Lon Chaney Jr., would go on to play the Wolfman and other classic monsters. But there was only one original, and Hollywood never saw another like him. Judy Garland, a voice that could lift a nation, somewhere over the rainbow. And just like that, we think of Judy Garland. She was only 16 when she filmed The Wizard of Oz, but she already had the voice of a legend. That film made her a household name, and her star never really faded. She went on to captivate audiences in musicals, dramas, and concerts, earning 2 Oscar nominations and thousands of standing ovations. But behind the curtain, Judy's life was hard. She had been pushed into show business as a child, subjected to studio control, crash diets, and prescription pills to keep her working. It was a toxic mix that followed her into adulthood. She married 5 times, battled addiction, and often struggled to find peace. Still, she kept performing. Her resilience was astonishing. On June 22, 1969, just 12 days after her 47th birthday, Garland died in her London home from an accidental overdose of barbiturates. She had been in fragile health and under emotional strain. Her death sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Over 20,000 people came to her funeral. Judy Garland gave everything she had to her art. Her voice could stir the soul, but it came from a place of deep personal pain. She sang of rainbows, but her own skies were often gray. Junior Durkin, the boy who never got to become a man. Junior Durkin was a rising star in the early 1930s, and he was just getting started. He was best known for playing Huckleberry Finn alongside Jackie Coogan's Tom Sawyer. The two were friends in real life, too, young actors growing up in the strange, glittering world of early Hollywood. By 1935, Durkin was 19 and preparing to leave his child actor days behind. He had started going by his real name, Trent Durkin, and was seeking more mature roles. Then, tragedy struck. On May 4th, Durkin joined Coogan, Coogan's father, and 2 others on a road trip through California. Their car swerved to avoid another vehicle, lost control, and rolled down an embankment into a creek bed. Durkin was thrown from the vehicle and killed. He was the only one not wearing a seatbelt. Of the 5 passengers, only Jackie Coogan survived. Durkin never got the chance to become the actor he was meant to be. One moment, full of promise. The next, a life cut short, leaving behind only a glimpse of what might have been. Jean Harlow, the platinum blonde who faded too fast. Jean Harlow was the original blonde bombshell. With her shimmering hair, sly smile, and bold personality, she brought electricity to the screen. In films like Red Dust, Dinner at 8, and Libeled Lady, she held her own against some of the biggest stars of the 1930s. Clark Gable, William Powell, Spencer Tracy. Audiences loved her. So did the tabloids. But unlike many stars who were manufactured by studios, Harlow had something more. a growing depth as an actress. She was just beginning to shift from light comedy to more dramatic roles when tragedy struck. In 1937, during the filming of Saratoga, Harlo began to feel unwell. She had suffered through years of minor health issues, fatigue, swelling, back pain. Doctors thought she had the flu or gallbladder problems, but the real issue was far more serious. Harlo's kidneys were failing. By the time it was discovered, it was too late. On June 7, 1937, she died in a Los Angeles hospital. She was only 26. Her death shocked Hollywood. She had seemed invincible, young, beautiful, at the height of fame. MGM was forced to finish Saratoga using a stand-in and creative camera angles. To this day, Jean Harlow remains one of the brightest lights ever to shine and burn out in classic Hollywood. Hollywood has always loved a comeback, but some stars never had the chance. They left us in their prime, voices still strong, careers still climbing, hearts still beating with dreams. And though their time was short, their legacy is long. We remember them not for how they died, but for how they lived, for the joy they gave, for the beauty they created, for the parts they played, and the ones we never got to see. Remember the star and the spark that still shines, because in the end, legends don't really die, they just fade into the lights.